Up until now, we've been focused entirely on storm sewer design. However, InterHyd can also do sanitary sewer design. To do that, you come in here to the top left corner and you switch from storm to the sanitary mode. And you'll see that all of these buttons refresh, and our default nodes are just a manhole and a stub. Of course, you can add in your own custom node types. So we'll go ahead and we'll add in a sewer design. We'll just click into our layout, just like we did for the storm sewers. And you'll notice that this is a different color just to help distinguish between the two systems. But otherwise, everything is identical to the storm sewer. When you click on a component, you have access to all of the properties, and the automated design system will work in the same way. The only real difference between the two systems is how the flows are being generated into your sewer. For storm sewers, obviously we had a catchment area and a runoff coefficient, but for sanitary sewer, we could be generating flows from a variety of different flow sources. So what we can do is we can add in a sanitary area. And just like with the storm catchment, we can connect it into our system. And when you click on this, you'll see here that I have defined a number of different flow sources, such as single-family homes, townhouses, apartments, etc. And you can actually enter in the corresponding number. So for single family, let's, as an example, say I've got 5 houses, I've got 10 townhouses, and 20 apartments. And let me add in a second source here. Let's say I've got 1.5 hectares of commercial space, and let's say I've got some hospital with 50 beds. So I am now generating flow into my sanitary sewer. You can see here it's generating that flow. But the real question is, how do you customize these flow sources such that they meet or match your municipal criteria? To do that, you'll come up here to Project and click on Sanitary Flow Sources. Now this window is quite complicated, so we'll go through it line by line. Up here you can indicate what is the inflow and infiltration rate coming into your sewer. So this will be a given flow per unit area. Let's say I've got 0.5 liters per second per hectare. Next, I can define population types. So typically, you're just going to have a portion, right? It could be a given flow per capita per day, but you might have some municipalities where they actually want you to define something like an employee type or a student, etc. And to do that, you could simply add a new type. Let's say we had something like an employee. In this case, for a person, we have an average flow of 400 liters per day, and we're specifying what the min and max peaking factors are. Down here under flow sources, this is where we actually name them as they appear in your municipal criteria. So single family, townhouse, and apartment, you'll notice I have now grouped these under the same flow type of residential. These flow types, you can add your own, but you can also have some that have the same identifier, which simply means commercial will be a standalone type and will be identified as such on your design sheet. The most important thing here is the calculation method. And this is how will InterHyd actually calculate the flow. You see it falls under two main categories. You've got the direct flow, where you either specify a flow or flow per unit or unit area, as well as the population-based flows. And this is where it'll first calculate what is the population, and then from the population, it'll determine what is the flow based on the unit, the flow area, the average flow and those peaking factors. So for our single family home, we're saying it's population per unit based on 4 people per unit at this average rate and peaking factor. If I come down here to industrial, you'll see that this calculation method is flow per unit area. So in this case, I'm saying 0.4 liters per second per hectare. But you'll notice these ones here, flow per unit, I'm defining my own unit types, which is quite common in a lot of municipal criteria. So for commercial, you'll see instead of per hectare, this now says hectare of floor. So this is where you might have a multi-story commercial center, and you need to specify what that floor space area is. And you can also do this thing, for bed, student, or any other unit you might have. So we'll just click OK. And now the final step is you want to actually export your sanitary sewer design sheets. So just like we did for storm sewers, you come up to export, but this time you're going to click sanitary sewer design sheet. Let's just name this SAN design sheet. So this will generate our design sheet. You'll notice under this section where it says flow sources, it's going to list all of our sources with their corresponding group. In the case of single family, it's going to indicate we have 5 units, so 5 houses, and it's going to convert that into a population. In this case, it is reading from this table. So for single family homes, we've got 4 persons per unit. It's going to do that for all of our different types. Commercial, you see it's based on the hectare of floor. Hospital is based on the number of beds. If we come over here to this population, it's going to determine what is the total population at each location based on the incremental and the cumulative population, and then calculate the peaking factor. We've also here under area, this is where if you've got a tributary area to each catchment for inflow and infiltration, you can specify what that area is. And then under peak flows, you will see that we have a peak flow that is now broken down by each group that we have defined. So for residential, we've got a peak flow of 1.9 liters per second compared to institutional or our inflow and infiltration. All of this together is going to give us the total flow into our system. And this final section here, this is just the pipe hydraulics. It's almost identical to the storm sewer design sheets, with the exception that we are not tracking things like the time of concentration or the time in section. So with that, that is how you can do sanitary sewer design and have your design sheets exactly match the design and your municipal criteria.